We decided to make this next video because we get so many questions about rotation of the spine. Rotation of the spine can be very questionable with people with low bone mass, because usually people will rotate, flex, and side bend all together, adding more force to the spine and thus more risk of injury. By doing rotation in an active way and beginning in positions of less compression on the spine, we bring more safety into the movement. When you do rotation of the spine in sitting, that's the position of most compression of your spine. So you're adding more compression plus the torsional forces on your spine. So in this video, what you'll see me do is start by lying in side lying, which is the second position of compression on the spine. And I'm going to demonstrate 3 different versions of Mermaid, 2 of them in side lying, and 1 of them beginning in the prone position, lying on my abdomen, which is the next position of compression. Now I'm going to demonstrate a series of movements called the Mermaid Series. This is spinal rotation done in an active way. In other words, using the muscles of the spine along with spinal elongation to increase safety in movement for the spine. The first one that I will do is what I call a flexibility version of the Mermaid, to gain more motion in the spine to be able to do other parts of the series. So I start lying on my side. I roll over on my side, making sure that I'm all the way on my side and then my pelvis is not rotated backwards. I use a landmark. There's a prominent bone on the pelvis right in the front and another one on the other side that I call the headlights of the pelvis, facing the pelvis straight ahead so that I know I'm lying on my side. I bring my legs back as far as possible, sort of like the tail of a mermaid, and point my toes away from my body. I bring my underneath arm, in this case my left one, out in front of me and place the other hand on top of it. To begin the movement, I take a breath, and as I breathe out, I begin to slide the upper hand off from the lower one and begin to trace a circle on the floor, following the movement of my hand with my eyes, beginning to rotate my body. As I do this, I want to tighten up through the core so that I don't fall backwards. As I begin to lose sight of my hand, I still have the hand moving around behind me so that I come all the way around and then gaze over at that right hand. Lengthening out, always lengthening through the legs, lengthening through the feet, lengthening through the arms for this movement. To return to the start, I begin to trace the circle on the floor, once again coming around to the starting position. Now this movement takes a fair amount of balance. I've been working on this Mermaid series for about 8 years, I guess. And when I first started, I wasn't able to get my hand all the way around without lifting it off the floor. But you want to keep it on the floor, and then if you begin to lose your balance, what you can do is counterbalance by bringing the top leg out in front of the bottom leg. And this will allow you to be able to come further around in the circle. However, if you experience pain in your shoulders or any kind of radiating sensation down through the arm, that's as far as you should go for starters. It may take you a while to gain the flexibility to be able to complete the movement. The second version of the mermaid is more a strengthening version. And what I'm attempting to do here is keep my body as long as possible, particularly through the spine, so that I normalize or minimalize the forces on the spine, that I want to get them more even throughout the spine as I move. I pick my upper hand up off the lower one and look up at my hand as I do so. I'm now going to keep this arm in the same plane with the body as I roll back to bring this hand down to the floor. Again, the weight of my arm is pulling me over, but I don't want to simply drop the hand down because that will be too much stretch on the shoulder, and also I'm attempting to gain range in my spine. So I roll my body to bring my hand down to the floor. Again, if I have trouble with this, I can counterbalance with the top leg. You want to keep the counterbalance movement to a minimum so that you keep most of the movement in the spine. To return to the start, I lift with my body. I want you to notice here how I'm lifting the arm with my body. I'm not just lifting my arm off the floor, so I'm using my abdominals, my core muscles to bring my body back into the side lying position, and then lowering the hand back to the starting position. The third part of this is to roll over onto the abdomen. Now what I'm doing is I'm moving from a position of less to more spinal compression as I go from side lying into the prone position. I lengthen out along the floor as much as I can, pointing my toes, keeping my legs together. Take a breath in, slide my right hand out to the side, so I'm going to go in the same direction I did in the other two movements. Look over at that hand. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift that arm by pulling it up with my body. I have to push a little bit with this hand to aid that movement, and then, as I did in the second one, I'm bringing the right arm down toward the floor and I'm moving the left hand down so that they're across from each other. Now again, as I did in the second one, I'm going to move the arm by the body. I tighten my abdominals, pulling the arm up, beginning the movement back to the starting position. When I get to this position, I want to make sure I have my balance and I'm holding tight as I roll back onto the floor in a controlled fashion. Eccentric contraction of the rotators of the spine. Returning to the starting position by sliding my hand up alongside my head, lengthening out, and then from here I would turn over on my other side and repeat the three motions on the other side.